My name is Michelle Ring Hansen.
And my name's Joe Miller.
This segment of the training is an overview of the Mentor Toolkit. You can access the materials referenced in this training with the Participant Resources document located in the Trial Mentors user group.
As you prepare for mentoring teams, there's a few things that you're going to want to target in your work time today. We're going to start with really having you dig deep into part 3, preparing for UDL implementation trials. Part 3 contains 2 stages. Stage 1, which is really that planning component, and stage 2, which is kicking off the work with your teams. For each of these stages, we are giving you some dedicated time to read through the Learn, Grow, Lead, Know, Mentor sections and really say, what do I have to be prepared to do when I leave our training today? We want you, as you read through those parts, we want you to really use your journal to capture what are those learning ideas that are my foundation for the tasks that I have to do, and what questions do I have and might I want to pose to the group so that when I leave today, I know exactly what my next steps are. So we're going to have you use that journal, again, capture those learnings, document your tasks, and then really key in those questions that you have. And at the end of the work time, we want you to be ready to share some key learnings and those timely questions so we can benefit from everybody's idea exchange. So with that said, we're going to turn it over to you in your breakout rooms. Welcome back, everyone. I can't believe how fast our work time flew by. One of the things that we wanted to do as a check-in is hear from each breakout room. So in the spirit of efficiency, I think we'll just kind of popcorn this on our end, Joe and myself, and start with our team that was in room 7, which is our Stevens Point team. So thank you so much for being the first out of the gate. What we would ask is you can either share some key learnings that came through in your work time, or any of those questions that came up that you want to pay forward to the whole group.
Melville, I don't know if you're pointing to me, thanks. We just by looking at even the nice outline of where we're at with the steps, it's nice because Jen and I feel like, all right, we already have a meeting set, and we're starting to look at certain things and get some organizational points in order, which is good because this is kind of a big undertaking for me, at least, because I've never been through this process before. Jen's had more experience. But then the conversation that we were able to have Joe kind of step in and help us with had to do with where we would be at in terms of targeted measurable objectives, things that we want our team to drill down on, and how that's fitting in with our current pushes that we have, that we feel are UDL centered, but at the same point, we need to make sure adhere to the research guidelines too. So this gave us a chance to ask those questions, know that we're probably going to have more, and be okay with that for right now, and not feel like right this second, this moment, we have to be ready to walk out of here and launch this thing. But I feel like we have at least what I'm going to call a plan for the next 7 days ready.
So we're on the 7-day plan, not the 100-day plan, the 7-day plan. Love it, Amanda. Yep. Awesome. And sometimes you really have to give yourself permission to go slow to go fast in the long run. And I think, the Bible bites and being able to say, next 7 days, we're doing this chunk. Then after that, we'll do this chunk is a great way to make sense of the information without feeling like you have to boil the ocean and learn everything all at once.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Let's go into our next room, which is Sun Prairie and Beth. Any key learnings, questions you want to pay forward?
James? Alyssa? Anyone over there?
Yeah, James had to go make a phone call, so,
Okay.
but we did set up a plan with Beth and have 3 meetings
Hmm?
or times for Beth to come to our school and support our 2 grade levels that are going to be going through the trials. So super helpful. And as a classroom teacher, I feel like now, yes, I'm a couple steps ahead, and I feel like I absolutely can do this. And I feel like I know what I'm gonna do next. So that was super helpful.
Awesome.
Yeah, that time was critical for us to kind of wrap our brain around it using the tools that you provided, the outline, and just getting started. So we're excited.
Great. Looking forward to hearing everybody's next steps when we reconvene in October. Let's go to our CISA 8 folks, Niagara. Key takeaways or questions that came out of your discussion.
I think I am the only one left in that group.
All right,
I-
well, Jenny,
I
just enlighten us.
I spent a lot of time digging through the tools, specifically the roadmap. Just really found it helpful to see all the step-by-step guides and direction there. And big takeaway is that it's a guide, not a prescriptive diagnostic tool. So we have choice within all the tools there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jenny. How about our Eau Claire team and or Wendy?
We were able to, I think our key takeaway was looking at that roadmap, get some of that logistical planning. It was helpful to see and use the planning for leaders and that kickoff for teams for how can we get our teams moving this year and increase that buy-in, knowing what are the trials, kind of getting past some of our past preconceptions of what the trials were and so on. So
Thank you so much. Let's think, do we have anyone from our Baldwin Woodville team? Leah?
To be honest, I was just kind of joining in with a different CISA, just to kind of see how things were going. Because we are in I think I've kind of shared maybe with a couple of people that this has been quite overwhelming for me, because we had just kind of done it, I thought, because of our EL students, because we had such a surge and they wanted to do some trials last year with our students. So I didn't honestly even know that this was happening until it showed up on my calendar today. So this has been quite so this has been because there was a changeover at CISA and things too. So I'm not sure if we've been drafted or voluntold or how this all works. It's been kind of a process, and you know, I think there's a lot of good information out there, I think, but I need to talk with Kari and kind of see where we would like things to go from here.
Excellent. Well, we're happy you joined us, even though it sounds like you jumped in the deep end today.
Yes, I did.
Well, good thing you can swim. Let's go to CISA 9 folks, Antigo Rhinelander, Mia, Carrie Jo.
well, first off, I think we need to bring this dynamic duo back together. So Ryan Lander and Anna Go having some just conversation with the two coaches because they really helped each other. And Carrie Jo and I just kind of sat back and were like, hey, two geniuses chatting it up. So that was perfect. So kind of taking away a little bit of bringing a couple folks together, I think, as they go through this work, and how to talk with leadership and helping leadership make connections with the work they were doing. But there was a really important question that Jeff had around the rate or the assessment scale. In his district, they are moving to actually like a 3-point scale versus 4, like we have set up for the data tool. And just some wondering around flexibility, if we could kind of rate on 3-point scale instead of a 4, like, is there some flexibility there so it more aligns to what the students are used to receiving in feedback and how the teachers are thinking during their assessment practice? So we're kind of using that same system throughout.
Right now, we don't have the flexibility to change. Well, the My Impact tool does have the flexibility to make it a 3-point scale. But again, we will be consolidating information. All of the 1s and 2s get connected together, and all of the 3s and 4s get connected together. So in the My Impact tool, and I guess it would be the same if you use a data collector, you just have to collect your information. When you add rubric levels, you'd have a 1, 2, and a 3 in the My Impact tool. So if you make somebody a 2 and you're thinking that they've really grown, it's going to get consolidated with the 1s. And it, so the upper limit there, your 3 is where you'd want all your students to be, because that's going to be your consolidation, the 3 and 4 there.
All right, good questions. Always really good to think about how to customize for the work that you're doing in your own districts and where you want to see the work move in the future. And let's round out with our Sheboygan Falls and Denmark team and our CESA 7 group.
Our conversation, we didn't so much have a question, but our conversation was really about, we're excited to get going with this. We were kind of waiting for this meeting to get kind of the new parameters, and our meeting was mostly strategizing about where we think the grant would have the most potential, the grant classroom had the most potential to benefit students. Because our goal really is to, whatever the changes are we making assessment or UDL practices, that they don't just benefit that classroom teacher in that classroom, that we can have them spread out and impact other students in a positive way. So that was 90% of our conversation, just trying to strategize. We haven't made a decision yet, but thinking about where those classrooms would be and why.
Oh, excellent, Mark. Thanks. Jake, do you have anything to add from the Denmark lens?
Just from my end, knowing the individuals that are part of my team, started to think about, map out what would be the best course of action on the subject areas that they instruct, and then potentially start looking at goals. So it was a lot of reflection on my part about how I'm moving this forward, and then touching base with other admin here in the building and just bouncing ideas off of them.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I appreciate everyone's willingness to ask those questions and to share out their thinking and their takeaways from our different learning opportunities today. We're going to end our time together, kind of taking you through the next steps of the to-dos and what you need to be thinking about as you transition your work to your school teams.
All right. So the review the do's here. One of the first important things to do is to really make a decision about which data tool you're going to use, because that is going to be how your teachers experience the start of this work with you. So if you decide to use My Impact, fill out the subscription information, and we'll send a follow-up email to everybody that'll have important points, but that information can be found within your participant guide as well. Plan and facilitate stages 1 and 2 of the UDL implementation trials process with the teams using that mentor toolkit, including having your team collect baseline data. We're hoping that by the time we get back together on October 11th, that some of you will have finished with part of your baseline data collection so that we can start talking about what it looks like to take the next steps. And then RSVP and calendar and attend all the training sessions and network meetings that we have set up for our group here. Ensure teachers include individuals with IEPs in their roster of students to observe in their classrooms, and record that teacher info and student counts in the participation log. Remember, it's 1 row per teacher. Administer your educator survey to team members when you get together, and document your mentoring role reflections in the Learn, Do, Reflect journal if that's your choice, and share that back if you're willing to share an insight into your thinking. And then support your district in completing those project partner agreement documents. Those do need to be returned to us so that we can use the data. And for those of you who choose to use the data collector tool, we'll need that shared with us so that we can harvest that data from you. So finally, we're just going to close and check out. We're asking that everybody as a partner, project partner, take the UDL implementation trials mentor group user group survey. So if you haven't done so already, because this link is on your participant guide, please take a couple of minutes right now to take that survey. To remind you that our next mentor user group meeting is October the 11th from 9 until 11 a.m. And we invite you into the mentor user group on the UDL Forward community to add in your next or your first big step. So you'll see that in the discussion board. Michelle added in, we just completed our UDL implementation trial mentor toolkit kickoff training. And if you click on that, share your first big step as you prepare to mentor your school teams. It's been a great joy to meet each and every one of you. We look forward to seeing you in October. Thank you for your continued engagement on a virtual platform today. I know it's not the easiest to maintain attention for that long, but we are so excited to hear the enthusiasm throughout the entire group to be able to use this process to make a difference for the students in your building.
Yes, and thank you so much. We're wishing you a great start to your trials kickoff with your teams. And again, please reach out if you have any questions or need any support, and we will see you in October. Thanks, everyone.